Everyone, this is Evangelist August Rosado with Today in Bible Prophecy Ministries. We want to thank you so much for tuning in on this Wednesday afternoon. We are coming to you live from our main headquarters here in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and it's great to have every one of you with us today. I know we're starting a little bit late. I had a good hour drive from the destination I was coming from, but we're here, and I am so glad that you have decided to join us on our Bible prophecy update. You know, we haven't been on live streaming because of the bogus ban for 30 days of my live streaming account for some type of bogus charge that I did in 2019. So what we did is we were live streaming on YouTube. And I'll tell you, YouTube has a really, really good live streaming service. And so we were live streaming for the 30 days on YouTube. But, you know, we're finally back after the 30-day ban for something I did in 2019. And so we're back and we're here. It's great to see Greta Sims Emery with us in the room today. Artemio Cruz is with us in the room today. And Dr. Todd Baker. I was just on the phone with Todd just a few minutes ago. And I'll tell you folks, Todd Baker and I are very, very excited. Now, Christine, David Merschwal, you're here, so I want you to listen to what I have to say. We're excited because Israel just announced yesterday that they are reopening the country to foreign tourists, and that includes tourists from the United States of America. So they're reopening tourism in Israel beginning May 23rd. And by the time June comes around, individuals can travel there as well. Now, the only stipulations right now is that they're only allowing tour groups into Israel for May 23rd, not individual travel. Only tour groups will be allowed to come into Israel May 23rd. Vaccinated tour groups. Then, if they feel everything is going great without no major outbreaks, then come June, mid-June, maybe early July, they'll allow vaccinated individuals into the country. But right now, as it stands, Israel is allowing tourism back after almost a year and 3 months or so, a year and 4 months. So we will be back in the country this year. And I'll tell you folks, I'm excited about that. Absolutely excited that we're going to be able to get back into the Holy Land. Todd Baker and I are looking to carry out the 50th Israel Gospel Outreach. And so I'm hoping that we can do that very soon this year. So please keep that in prayer as Israel is reopening. So Christine, David Merschwal, you are coming to Israel with us in the fall. So you can rest assured we will be back in the Holy Land. Now listen, I know that the vaccine thing is a big controversy among Christians in the church today. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had a guy, no, not even a couple of days ago, I had a guy criticize me because I got my vaccine shot a few weeks back. Here, August, a man of your knowledge, didn't do his homework on the vaccine. Well, I'm sure you didn't do your homework on it either, but I did. And that was my personal choice. Not yours or not anybody else's. That's my personal choice. And frankly, it's none of your business. But I got my first vaccine, and a week from today, I'm getting my second one. That's my personal choice. And I want people to respect my personal choice. My body, my personal choice. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. I respect those who take the vaccine, and I respect those who don't. Your opinion is not the only one that matters. Okay? My take on this, and I've talked with Todd Baker about this, respect people's choice, whether they get the vaccine or not. Respect people's decisions. And yet, the majority of this misinformation and all these conspiracies are coming from Christians. So don't tell me I didn't do my homework on this. I did my homework on it. And I got my first shot. And I'm going for my second one. And if you don't like it, your problem. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited here, folks, but I'm so sick and tired of the misinformation that's coming from people in the church. And yet criticizing others who are getting a vaccine. It's none of your business. So respect people, whether they take it or not. But I'll tell you this. If I have to get a vaccine to get back into Israel to share the gospel with the Jewish people, I'm going to do it. You know what Paul the Apostle said? He said, I have made myself unto all men in order to preach the gospel to them. Paul said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the gospel out. I am made all things unto all men, that I might by all means save some. So if a shot in the arm is going to take it for me to get back into Israel, well, guess what? I'm going to do it. And if you don't like it, delete your friendship account and go somewhere else. Because that's how I roll. That's what I'm going to do. Todd Baker and I are on the same page here. And I'll tell you this, if you think you're going to try to pull one over by ordering a fake vaccine card, you're going to jail, bud. They're making it a federal offense right now for anybody to purchase bogus vaccination cards in order to travel abroad. They will arrest you at the airport, Christian or not. They will arrest you at the airport, and you can be charged with a federal crime. Oh, not a misdemeanor. A federal crime. Because right now, these anti-vaxxers are dishing out fake vaccine cards. But here's the thing, and Israel's brilliant when it comes to this. They're going to test you at the airport to see if you have the vaccine in your blood system. They'll be testing you. And if you show them that card, and it shows you don't have the vaccine in your blood system, you are in big trouble. Big trouble. So, I'm doing what I got to do, number one, for my health, and number two, to get back into Israel. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Because I'm going to go back into the land of milk and honey, and Todd Baker and I are going back there to share the gospel with Jews and Arabs. And if you cannot see that because you are so caught up in vaccine conspiracies, you got a big problem, bigger than you think. So I can lay my head down at night with peace in my heart, knowing that I did what I felt I had to do. And again, if you don't like it, whether a pastor or not, if you don't like it, delete the friendship account and go somewhere else. I'll digress. We're back here, live streaming on Facebook. And we're going to be talking about Israel at 73. And folks, I'm here to tell you, that wasn't no fluke. That wasn't some coincidence. That was a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. And for anybody today to say that there are no modern day prophecies being fulfilled today, they are blind like an ostrich with its head in the sand. Because I can show you umpteen passages in the Old Testament that shows that one day Israel would become a nation. And that's exactly what happened 73 years ago today. Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel Independence Day. Prior to that, they had Israel Remembrance Day, Yom HaZikaron, to remember Israel's fallen and those Jews who were victims of Arab terrorism, Palestinian terrorism. And that is always first. In other words, they go from mourning to celebration. And that's what I'm going to be talking about on today's broadcast. Now, let me just say hello. Stephen Mitch Smith is with us. Stephen, I'm going to be at your church. Come this summer, buddy. Looking forward to being with you and your people. Amanda Tatro, good to have you with us. Said just got home. Luann Parrish is with us. Luann, so good to see you. She says everyone has to do what they feel is best for them. I am double vaccinated. Well, there you go. She's double vaccinated. I am with you about the misinformation from the churches. And Luann, I'm sure you may have gotten, or maybe not, but you've probably gotten some criticism from somewhere. You know, you took the mark of the beast. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to be blunt here. That's absolute stupidity. So, Luann, it's good to have you with us. And so I'm sure we'll have more people coming into the room. Hey, folks, I just want to let you know, we got a bunch of Holy Land products that just came in today. It was like coming all the way from Israel. But we got shofars that came in today. We got Jerusalem change purses that came in today. We have Star of David necklaces that came in today. Kids shofars that just came in today. And I listed all of these things on my Facebook page. If you would like to purchase any of these Holy Land products, you can do so by going to my Facebook page, scroll down, and see all the stuff that I've listed with the secure PayPal link on there. Just click on that PayPal link, put your order in, and once I get it today, we're going to ship it right out to you today. We're excited about that. Now, this Sunday, I'm going to once again be in New Hampshire. The whole month of April, I've been in New Hampshire, preaching at independent fundamental Baptist churches in New Hampshire. This Sunday, first time church for me, Patty and I will be at Twin Mountain Baptist Church in Twin Mountain, New Hampshire. And I am so looking forward to being with Pastor Laughman and all of his people over there. Beautiful country church right in the middle of, hills, green hills, trees. The place is beautiful. And they've invited us to come. He already contacted me and said, we'll be waiting for you come Saturday. So, we're going to be with them all day. Twin Mountain Baptist Church in Twin Mountain, New Hampshire. And then the following Sunday, the last Sunday of April, I'll be in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And that will be at Calvary Baptist Church. And so, all April has been New Hampshire churches. That's a blessing. And so, if you want to see if I'm going to be at a church near you, go to my website, todayinbibleprophecy.org. Click on my speaking schedule. See if we'll be at a church near you. Folks, I got to tell you this. Ever since, pre-COVID, we've had a full schedule, but nothing like this. Now that COVID is slowly dissipating, my speaking schedule for 2021 is full. Every Sunday in 2021 for me is filled. I cannot take any more church speaking. We're packed. We're full. So if you want to book us, it's going to have to be for 2022. Only with the exception of July 25th when I'm in the Dallas area. As a matter of fact, I'll be speaking for Todd Baker at Shalom Congregation. And I'll be doing a 4-day prophecy conference at a church in Garland. I'll also be at a prophecy conference while I'm out there. And I'm looking for that July 25th area somewhere in the Dallas area or maybe any of the surrounding proximity. But other than that, 2021 is full. I got no more speaking engagements for 2021. We are full to the gills. I'm excited about that. So now we're back in the fray of full-time ministry. So no more door dashing and no more Amazon flexing. So that's just a real blessing. I already got a call from a church in Florida for, I think they said it's April 2022. And that's going to be a 5-day prophecy conference at a church near Orlando. The pastor just called me and said, I had you scheduled for 2023, but can we just, move that up to 2022? I said, you're the pastor. If you want, let's do it. So we're already getting bookings for 2022. I'm excited about that. Absolutely excited. So if you want me at your church for 2022, then I cannot squeeze anybody else in for this year. I just can't do it. But, with the exception of maybe midweek services, Wednesday services, or Thursday, I could probably do that for 2021, but Sundays are all taken. So, if you want me for midweek services in 2021, those are open. But all my Sundays are booked. For this year, I cannot take any more speaking schedules, any more speaking engagements. I'm humbled by that. Rivka, Becky DaCosta, is here. She says, hi, I'm so poised to be working. And I know you're probably at work right now, but I'm glad, Rivka, that you have decided to join us. Becky DaCosta, I was her pastor for a few years, back in 1999 in New Bedford, Massachusetts. So that's a blast from the past to have Becky DaCosta with us here. And she's coming to Israel with us in the fall. As you know, Becky, I don't know if you heard me, but Israel will officially reopen for tourism May 23rd. That's awesome. So we are just so excited about that. You're not allowed to say Becky? Oh, man. Well, what do you want me to say? Rivka? Rebecca? I'm just going to stick with Rivka. How's that? So, we're excited about that. I'm so glad that Rivka is going to be joining us, as well as Christine. And I'll be making an announcement to everybody else that will be coming with us. So, we're excited. We also have a couple of people that called me saying, August, do you have any room on that fall trip? Yeah, I do. So, we'd love to have you. Let's see there. So again, order any of our Holy Land products. I just got the shipment in today. So you can order any of our Holy Land products. You can order my brand new book, Daniel, A Chronology, forwarded by Dr. Todd Baker, in which I show you how to read the book of Daniel chronologically. Go to our bookstore. You can order the book right there. And again, we have some seats available for our Bible prophecy tour to Israel and Jordan. Mind you, in Jordan, we're going to be there for 2 days. Usually we're just there for 1 full day, but we're going to be there for 2 days. One night in North Jordan, we will be at Mount Nebo. Well, Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 49. It's where Moses viewed the promised land before he died and was buried at Mount Nebo. Look down at the Dead Sea, Yam HaMelech, and the Jordan Valley. He was allowed to see the promised land. from that location where we're going to be at. Then we'll travel to South Jordan to a place that I bring my tour groups to all the time, and that is Petra. So you're going to get 2 countries for the price of 1. So I hope you take advantage of that. Come with me to Israel. Tour price, $34.98 per person, all inclusive. Round trip airfare. Buffet, breakfast, dinner, daily. Hotels, transportation, Israel, Jordan, taxes, and all entrance fees. All covered in that tour price. The dates, September 29th to October the 9th. Once we get back from Israel, then I'll be home for like 8-9 days, and then leaving with Todd Baker for, unless it happens sooner, for the 50th Israel Gospel Outreach. I am just thrilled that we will be back in Israel this year. And I am excited. To be honest with you, I'm ecstatic. Or as they say in Hebrew, sababa. It's awesome. Just excited. And so please pray that there's no further outbreaks when they allow tour groups to come in there. And then by June, they'll allow individuals. But right now, as it stands, Israel says they're only going to allow vaccinated people in there. So I know that could prove to be a problem for some. And if it is, no big deal if you need to back out. But there are those that are saying, we're going, and we'll do whatever it takes to get back to get into Israel. So we're excited about that. Okay, well, that's all I'm going to say right now. I want you to take your Bibles and go with me to Ezekiel chapter 38, verses 9 through 12. Ezekiel 38, 9 through 12. We're going to be talking about Israel at 73. So, Ezekiel 38, I'm sorry, not 38, Ezekiel 37, not 38. Ezekiel, let me just correct, I don't know why I'm so used to saying Ezekiel 38, 39, the Magog invasion. But in Ezekiel 37, verses 9 through 12 says this, Then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, Ben Adam in Hebrew, son of man, and say to the wind, Ruach in Hebrew, where we get the word Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. He says, Prophesy and say to the wind, Thus saith the Lord God, Come from the 4 winds, O breath, wind, Ruach, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied, as he commanded me, and the breath, Neshama, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army. Then he said unto me, Ben Adam, son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dry, and our hope, Tikva, Israel's national anthem is Ha, Tikva, Ha, the Tikva, hope, the hope, Israel's national anthem. Our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts. Therefore prophesy, and saying to them, Thus saith the Lord, Lord God, behold, O my people, Israel, the people of Israel, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. It doesn't say the land of Palestine. The land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves. And I shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live. And I shall place you in your own land. Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. Then shall ye know that I, the Lord, have spoken it and performed it, saith the Lord. Folks, what an amazing prophecy that we have here. An amazing prophecy. Now, look at the word resuscitate. To resuscitate means to revive from apparent death. To bring back to life. Another definition is to restore, to resurrect, to revitalize. Those are all great definitions for resuscitation. Yet, this is what happened some 73 years ago, when a nation was declared dead with no hope, and the people were wandering from nation to nation, suffering persecution and being killed. They, the Jews, were virtually declared dead. Their nation invaded by a foreign army, the Romans, who were extremely ruthless. That they butchered thousands and thousands of Jews. Josephus said it was close to about 1 million. Many believe that's an inflated figure. But I'll tell you this, thousands upon thousands were killed. The nation destroyed. Jerusalem destroyed, as well as the second temple, Herod's temple. And the Jews, they were scattered to the four corners of the earth. Defiled, defeated, depressed, wandering from nation to nation, wondering if they would ever see their ancestral homeland again. The Jewish people are a miracle. If you think God doesn't exist, look at the Jew. Proof in the pudding that God exists and that he has preserved his chosen people. The Jewish people are a miracle, and proof of that is their preservation and existence. That was no fluke. That was no coincidence. But proof that God's divine hand had preserved them for 2 millennia. Think about this with me. For 1,948 years. 1948. For 1,948 years. Think about this. 1,948 years ago, the Jews were expelled from their land by the 10th Roman Legion Army under General Titus, who was the son of the Roman Emperor Vespasian. And that was in 70 AD. 1,948 years ago. Deuteronomy 28 records the blessing and the curse to come upon Israel contingent on whether they would obey God or whether they would disobey God. But look at Deuteronomy 28 and you will notice the first 14 verses of Deuteronomy 28 deal with blessing. That's it. Just 14 verses deal with blessings. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. However, when you get to verse 15 through verse 68, folks, you have 53 verses that deal with the curse. I find that significant because history shows that Israel did not obey the commands of the Lord. Based on that fact, the Jews have experienced the curse. The Jews would experience great persecution from foreign armies in biblical times and even in modern times. The Jews suffered at the hands of evil regimes. And in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 62 it says, the Jews would be left few in number, even though God said they would be as the stars of the heaven for multitude. They would be left few in number. Why few in number? Because they would not obey the Lord. That's what Deuteronomy 28 verses 15 through 68 was all about. The Nazi regime murdered 6 million Jews during World War II. Think about this one with me. If the Holocaust did not happen, do you know how many Jews would be in the world today? Roughly between 25 to 30 million Jews would be in the world today if the Holocaust did not happen. But because the Holocaust did happen, there are approximately only 14 million Jews worldwide today. Takes you back to Deuteronomy 28:62, and ye shall be left few in number. So worldwide today, you only have 14 million Jews, maybe about 8.6 million Jews living in Israel today. For 1,948 years, since the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple in 70 AD by the Roman army, the Jews found no rest among the nations. Now that's Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 64 through 66. Because of God's promises to the Jewish prophets, he would gather the Jews from the nations where they were scattered, where they've wandered, suffering persecution, and God said, I will bring them back into their homeland. I will bring them back into their land. I also want you to ponder this with me. World War I prepared a land for a people, and World War II prepared a people for a land. Let me say that again. World War I prepared a land for a people. World War II prepared a people for the land. And Ezekiel chapter 37 tells us the bones would come to life and they shall live. Chaim. God will resuscitate them. Dead bones. How can you resuscitate dead bones? Well, God can do whatever he wants. Genesis 18:24. Is there anything too hard for the Lord? Israel is celebrating Yom Ha'atzmaut. That is Independence Day. Israel Independence Day. They make a rapid transition, as I already said, from mourning to celebration. From mourning with Yom HaZikaron, Israel Remembrance Day, in which the state remembers its fallen. Fallen Israeli soldiers through their past 4 wars and all these other skirmishes today, and Jewish victims of Palestinian terrorism. Yeah, you heard me right, Palestinian terrorism. But then they transition to Yom Ha'atzmaut, Independence Day, in which they celebrate Israel's independence, which happened in 1948. Remember, it was in 70 AD, 1,948 years ago, that the Romans destroyed Jerusalem and the temple and scattered the Jews worldwide. Now, we see 1,948 years later, the rebirth of the state of Israel on May 14th, 1948. May 14th, 1948. Israel became a nation against all odds. In Ezekiel 34, God says 18 times, I will, I will, I will, I will, I will. 18 times. He says, I will. And keeping his promises to the Jewish people, that he would bring them back into their own homeland. That happened 1,948 years later, May 14th, 1948. Israel became a nation. In Ezekiel chapter 36, look at this one. In Ezekiel chapter 36, God speaks to the land. Not to an individual, not to humans. God speaks to the land 35 times. In Ezekiel chapter 36. And promising the land itself that the indigenous people are about to return. The Jewish people. And Isaiah chapter 35 tells us that when you see that happen, the land itself will respond by blossoming like the rose. And when you go to Israel today, it is absolutely lush, it's green, it's beautiful. That wasn't the case for the 400 years of the Turkish occupation, when it was just a barren, desolate wasteland. Even Mark Twain wrote about this, the atheist, in his book, Innocents Abroad. He said, I thought the Bible says this land was a milk and honey. Look at this place. It's a desolate, barren wasteland. Look at the sheep and goats. They're eating gravel for food. That's how bad it was. Until the Jews started coming back. And the moment the Jews started coming back, the land itself would respond. And boy, did it ever. Because God spoke to the land in Ezekiel chapter 36, 35 times. That the indigenous people are coming back. In Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 11, it says, these bones are the whole house of Israel. God said he would open their graves. Now the graves are symbolic for the literal nations of the world that these Jews have been scattered to. The bones are the Jewish people themselves, dried, broken, declared dead, until God resuscitates them. And God said, I will bring you into the land of Israel, not Palestine, into the land of Israel. We find that word Palestine mentioned in Joel chapter 3 and verse number 4, but that's not referring to what these Arabs call themselves today, Palestinians. No, that's a reference to Philistia, the Philistines, Israel's ancient foes. And that's the reason why in 135 AD, the Roman Emperor Hadrian crushed the final Jewish revolt against Rome, the Bar Kokhba revolt, and he banned Jews from going into Jerusalem, renaming the city Aelia Capitolina in honor of a pagan Roman idol. And he renamed the land of Israel Palestine in honor of Israel's ancient enemies, the Philistines. There are no connection to any Arab ethnicity today. Ezekiel 37, verses 13 and 14, it says, God will bring them back into their own land. 1,948 years later, leading up to the rebirth of the state, May 14th, 1948. We are talking, folks, 1,948 years later. And Israel's first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion, at Independence Hall in Tel Aviv, announced the rebirth of the state of Israel to the world. Todd Baker and I did a video program. I'm gonna see if I can find it and put it up on my Facebook page today so you can watch it. Todd and I stood at Independence Hall in Tel Aviv, Israel, where prophecy was fulfilled 73 years ago, coming up on May 14th, 2021. David Ben-Gurion announced the rebirth of the state of Israel with 900 reporters in attendance. And he read a speech that consisted of 997 words, and it only took him 17 minutes to declare to the world the rebirth of the state of Israel. A newborn nation among the nations. A preacher friend of mine asked me just last night, why doesn't Israel celebrate it exactly on May 14th? Next month, May 14th, 2021. And that's a really good question. Why are they celebrating it now? Because Israel declared independence in May of 1948, which corresponded with the Hebrew month Iyar. I-Y-A-R. Iyar the 5th. Iyar the 5th corresponds to late April or early May on our Gregorian solar calendar. Mind you, before Israel Independence Day is Yom HaZikaron, Israel Remembrance Day. That precedes Independence Day. And that all happens before May 14th because of the Jewish calendar, which is lunar, based on the moon, Iyar the 5th. So that's the reason why. And they want to make sure that they don't desecrate the Shabbat, the Sabbath, as well. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. He appreciated the answer, by the way. The Jewish month, as I said, Iyar corresponds to April, May on the Gregorian calendar. Yom HaZikaron. It's the remembrance of Israel's fallen soldiers and victims of terrorism. And Remembrance Day is always scheduled to precede Independence Day. That's the reason why they start off with mourning and then they transition over to celebration. Independence Day, in which they fought the War of Independence of 1948. Israel is back in the land. The problem is they're back in the land in unbelief. And there is a reason for that. The time of Jacob's trouble to come upon Israel. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse number 7. When we say a time of Jacob's trouble, we're talking about the final 70th week to come upon the Jews and Jerusalem. Daniel chapter 9 and verse number 24. He says 70 weeks are determined upon thy people, the Jews, and thy holy city. So we know he's talking about the Jews, because the holy city is Jerusalem. It certainly isn't Washington, D.C. Israel, shortly after David Ben-Gurion announced the rebirth of the state of Israel, Israel was attacked shortly after that declaration by 5 Arab nations with all of their military might, looking to annihilate the newborn Jewish state. And against all odds, Israel won the War of Independence. The world said, oh, it's going to be a Slobodana because Israel barely had a military. They barely had weapons. They had no tanks. They didn't have an air force. But they won. You think that's a fluke? I don't think so. Psalm 25:22. Redeem Israel, O God, out of all his troubles. And again, they won that war, the War of Independence, 48. But they also won 3 other wars in which the Arabs wanted to wipe them out. The 1957 Suez Canal War, the 1967 Six-Day War, in which, by the way, they took the Golan Heights, and the 1973 Yom Kippur War. That wasn't no fluke, folks. God preserved his people. Now the Jews are back in the land in unbelief, in preparation for the 70th week. A future 7-year period of tribulation to come. Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 30 says, when thou art in tribulation, and all these things shall come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou shalt turn to the Lord thy God, and be obedient unto his voice. What is the purpose of the tribulation period? to bring unbelieving Israel to faith in Yeshua, Jesus as the Messiah, as well as the unbelieving Gentile nations of the world. This has nothing to do with the church. Nothing to do with the church at all. You can't even make a connection there, even though many in the church try to do that today, pretty much making God a liar. 69 of those 70 weeks have already literally been fulfilled. Only 1 week remains unfulfilled. The 70th week, the 7-year period of tribulation to come upon unbelieving Israel and the unbelieving world. The purpose of the tribulation period is not to punish the blood-washed church of God. That's just, it's an oxymoron. It really is. Yeah, God wants to save you from going to hell, put your name in the Lamb's Book of Life, seal of salvation, but yeah, leave you on the earth to get beat up in the tribulation period. Makes no sense at all. It's a time of Jacob's trouble, folks. Jacob's trouble. Matthew 24, Jesus in the Olivet Discourse has pretty much given us a preview of the time of Jacob's trouble. And who was his main target audience? Jews. There was no church. There were no Christians. There were Jews. The Olivet Discourse, where did that take place? The Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, where I take my Torah groups all the time. The purpose of the tribulation is to bring Israel to faith in Jesus as the Messiah, since they are in unbelief. Read Romans 11:25. Israel in the present is in a state of unbelief. Jesus will return at the end of the tribulation period. And when that happens, Israel will come to the end of themselves, call upon the name of the Lord. Zechariah 12:10. Matthew 24:31. Romans 11:26. Revelation 1:7. Those are all second coming passages, not rapture passages, that happen at the end of the 7-year period of tribulation. Romans 11:26 says when that happens, all Israel shall be saved. And the Jews will look up when they see him coming back at his second coming, and they will cry this out, fulfilling Psalm 118 verse 26 and Jesus' words in Matthew 23:39. The Jews will look up and say, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Blessed is he who cometh in the name of the Lord. They will say, Oy vey, he was the Mashiach after all. He was the Messiah after all. Folks, in closing, after 1,948 years, the Jews are back in the land. When the state was reborn, May 14th, 1948. That was prophecy fulfilled. And there are prophecies that are yet to be fulfilled. And that will be the time of Jacob's trouble. But before that, the rapture of the church must take place first. The church must be taken out of here before the commencement of the 70th week. So I'm here to tell you, stage is set. The actors are getting into position. Curtain is about to go up on the end time drama. We must keep looking up, knowing that our redemption draweth nigh. Folks, once again, if you would like to order any of our products, we just got a bunch of gifts from Israel that just came in today. Please go to my Facebook page. I'm going to be putting them on my website later on today, but go to my Facebook page. And you can order shofars, change purses, Star of David necklaces in nice little attractive boxes. I wasn't expecting that. Kids, shofars. We got all that. So go to my Facebook page. Scroll down. You might have to scroll down a bit, but you'll see them there. And the PayPal button to our ministries right there. Click it on. order any of our products. You can order, while you're on my website, my new book, Daniel, A Chronology. How you can read the book of Daniel in chronological order. We are going to be making a few changes to the book when we put another order in, just to give everyone a heads up on that. Nothing of a major, issue. Just going to make a few changes there. And you can order, we have a 5-book offer of books I've already written. The Serpent, the Seed, The Second Coming, Bible Eschatology 1 and 2, Looking for the Promise of the Blessed Hope, and The Revived Roman Empire. All those books, they're $15 each, but you can get all 5 for $50 plus $5 shipping and handling. Go to my website, todayinbibleprophecy.org. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. Click on the donate link, and just put 5-book offer, $50 plus $5 shipping and handling. The Daniel book is not a part of that 5-book offer, but if you want to get the book and with the other 5 books, then you just have to add an extra $18 to do so. $18, and then add $2 more for the shipping and handling. So it'll be $50 plus $7 shipping and handling, because you're going to get a bunch of books coming to you. But if you just want the 5, $50 plus $5 shipping and handling. And so I hope to see all of you tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, if our ministry has been a blessing to you, please prayerfully consider supporting our ministry. Many of you I'm looking at right now, you've been doing that. Thank you. And your gifts, whether big or small, make a difference, a big difference. Because it helps me to travel all across the United States, and I have an extensive speaking schedule coming up. But it also helps me to cover expenses when I'm in Israel with Todd Baker. Car rental, lunches, gas. It's your support that helps me to do that. To get us around Israel, to share the good news with the Jews. So we put our money where our mouth is, folks. You know that. We can really use your help. And I just want to say to all of you watching right now that have given already, thank you. And yet you still continue to give. Thank you. And so you can use the secure PayPal link on my website, todayinbibleprophecy.org, at the bottom of the page. Or you can mail any support or mail any of your orders to Today in Bible Prophecy Ministry, care of August Rosado, 143 Grove Street, Grove, 143 Grove Street, Lincoln, Rhode Island, 02865. If you want to come with me to Israel this fall, September 29th to October 9th, get a hold of me as soon as possible, or send me a message requesting an e-brochure. So I'll send you an e-brochure. This is going to be a great trip. And I'll tell you one thing. The moment I step my feet back on Israeli soil, I'm going to kiss that ground. I am. I'm going to kiss that ground, man. Because I'm homesick. I want to get back to Israel. So if you want to go, then get a hold of me as soon as possible. All right. I hope to see all of you tomorrow. If you're getting in late right now, then we're going to upload this in a few minutes and put it on YouTube so that you can watch it in its entirety. So join me tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So remember, keep looking up. Jesus is coming soon, sooner than we think. And Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And Lord willing, we'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless. Have a great day today.